learning orientation is one of the sub-factors, Adrian. So what have we learned? What have we learned through our own Cornerstone experience and journey?
Oh, listen, I tell you what, Jason, for those listening who may not fully understand what the concept is, and they may just end up listening to this because they're interested in culture or resilience, and the next thing they find themselves listening to us too, which is on. Let me explain the model. Mental toughness is, and it's got so much stacks of research behind it, and it's one of the most peer-reviewed topics. We can now understand that the four C's that it's referred to, the mental toughness concept, consists of these four constructs, and that is control, commitment, challenge, and confidence. And then in turn, they're composed of 8 sub-factors, and they are under control, life control, emotional control; under commitment, goal orientation, achievement orientation; under challenge, risk orientation and learning orientation; and under confidence, interpersonal competence and confidence in your own abilities. And they can be measured, and they are measured and aggregated through the MTQ Plus questionnaire. And the framework 100% provides this wonderfully valuable insight into how people deal with challenge, deal with a difficult situation, deal with a stressful environment, deal with pressure, and what their default mindset will be. And I think that's invaluable insights. So, and it's all simply done and simply reported, right? Through what, 10-minute questionnaire, if that. So I think that's really why we love the tool, and when we use it, people get it so quickly, right? But for sure, Jason, what we learned on how many cohorts are we through now?
5.
5 cohorts, right? I think we've learned so much, and that what's quite interesting about the book, and why Douglas T wrote the book and asked us to contribute, is because there's so many learnings, and you can apply the tool and extrapolate these group insights about the tool, and and it's up to you. You can slice and dice it however you want to, quite frankly. And the people get their individual reports, obviously, but there are aggregated results for groups or the team or the entire business. But it does give you an insight into things, to the degree which people might take ownership of something, the degree to which people are volatile in something, the degree to which people will be struggling with change if they have low risk orientation, the degree to which they might move at pace and not stop to reflect and learn new things, the degree to which they might be incredibly planful, strategic, but not follow through on anything, right? Or vice versa, be incredibly non-planful, non-specific, but do achieve interesting things. Or how people may find it difficult to deal with challenge, be it face-to-face, one-on-one team challenge, or even doubt themselves in their abilities. And this tool just quickly can identify that. So in answer to your questions, Jason, we've found lots of things by using this tool, and we have found different insights from different cohorts, I would say. Tell me something, Jason. Did you see any? Do we see much difference between male and female? That's a classic one, I guess. Do we see much difference?
Well, we've done the analysis on that. We've not really seen overall any particular difference. Where I think we have seen the difference is on the age profiles, and there were a couple of the contributions to the book, particularly in chapter 2 with Craig Hamer. He made reference to the male versus female, but we didn't see a huge male versus female difference. What we did see, though, is across the age profiles we touched on earlier. The 20 to 30-year-olds with the biggest improvement in mental toughness, seeing growth of between 2 to 3 stents. And then you had people slightly later in life who had a more stable level of mental toughness because they had already experienced some events in their life that have built that mental toughness in them, because the top half is genetic. They know that from the zygotic twin experiments that have been done. so the top half, the commitment and the control factors, largely determined by DNA, whereas the confidence and challenge, well, they're more driven by the environment. So where people have been in challenging circumstances or managed large teams or handled high pressure jobs, they will have developed mental toughness, particularly in the bottom two that are set by environment, a little bit more than those in their younger years. But this helps people, this program helps people, and the profile helps people understand their level of mental toughness or sensitivity, and to make an evaluation about what's really the most helpful for them. But the 20 to 30-year-olds surprised me greatly, how big the impact was upon them. And, we spoke about the personal impacts, and from my perspective, if I've helped somebody to develop mental toughness, which we know is aligned to better mental health outcomes later in life or in certain circumstances, then, well, that's what we do the job for, right?
Yeah, no, for sure, right. So it'd be fair to say, on to that, what seemed like a simple question, what have we learned, Jason? It's quite a lot, right? Quite a lot in terms of participants' growth, for sure, impact on the business, that naturally impact on the culture, and how we can continue to improve. Great, even if in a great culture, and a strong culture says JCB, there's always room for improvement and growing and developing it, wouldn't you say?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Look, life's for living, and life is full of learning.
How important would you say, as someone who was, our internal partner, is it to do the pre and post analysis? And do you think it has to be done, or just what do you think? Just want to throw that one back at you.
I 100% endorse the pre and post. I mean, when you first proposed it, it did seem like additional expense, from a client's perspective. But look, here's the thing: you want to know what's happened. The participants want to know what's happened because they've spent 9 months investing in pushing themselves outside their comfort zones, learning new topics like meditation, like mindfulness, like naming their emotions and understanding them, problem solving, understanding other people from a sales perspective, implicit and explicit buying needs. They want to know how they have benefited themselves. And doing that post, a lot of people take a lot of comfort from it. No one's aiming to get a 10 from that second retake because they know that that's fruitless. By that time, they understand what it's measuring. But for them, it brings a degree of closure at the end of a program, I think. But it also helps them figure out where they want to go in the future. And I hope they'll dig those reports out and look at them from time to time. I certainly know they look at the workbooks that we give them, and they're certainly cherished by almost all of the participants we've had.
Yeah, and look, it's worth here building on that to say that the academic research shows and the study shows that it is it can be developed, right? It's developed. You've got to work on it. If you don't, I guess it stays static. In fact, it might even go backwards, right? If you're hit with a huge challenge you've not been faced before. And I guess when people enter new environments, previously mentally tough person in some of the 4 scales actually might show up slightly differently in that new environment, especially if they've relied on their natural ability, the natural talent. And then bam, they're hitting the face with a new culture, a new structure, a new way of doing things, and they haven't allowed themselves to work on their mental toughness, I guess. It can happen. And look, we work with people in the military, even in the SAS, who, as you would naturally think, they must be really tough, mentally tough people, but can fall off the cliff. They can fall off the cliff, again, when they're faced with extraordinary challenge, or maybe it can be the cumulative amount of challenges that they may face, and they've stopped giving themselves space to work on themselves. Bam, that thinking pattern. Remember, mental toughness is fundamentally that default thinking pattern. When you're confronted with that challenge, may begin to slide. So no, I love the fact that you are an advocate of the pre and post, and equipping people with the skill to continually work on it, because you've got to continually work on it. Be it having some kind of reflexive mindfulness practice, to journaling, Jason, because we encourage to journal, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we give everybody a mindset journal at the end of the emotional intelligence and resilience workshop. The aim of doing that, and it's we buy that in from somewhere else. We do that because it builds upon the module, but helps you to spend the next 3 months getting used to journaling, getting used to having a positive conversation with yourself rather than the typical negative conversation that might go on, particularly amongst younger managers, first-time managers, with that sense that they're not good enough, that imposter syndrome that so many people suffer from. So the journaling simply gets you to note 3 things of gratitude, 3 things you're grateful for at the start of the day, and then to note down a free-flowing journal. It invites you to set your goals for the day, 5 things you want to achieve, and to tick those off. So you've got a sense of achievement and goal orientation. You've got the gratitude piece, which is the positive mindset at the start of the day, free-flowing journal where you can just make notes or doodle. And then you're looking at what went well, what could have gone better. So you're straight into learning orientation, and also the feedback that you've got, what you're going to do with it. So more free-flowing journaling. And in addition to that, it asks you to just make some quick ratings about your hydration, which we know is so important for attention span and performance. Your sleep, which of course has had so much written about it, particularly recently, the importance of sleep and regular sleep. And then also your mood at the start and the end of the day, again, so that you're aware of your mood before you go home, before you start work, before you go to that important meeting. And the people that have used that book, it's not for everybody, admittedly, but the people that have used that book have gained enormous amounts from it and have learned more about themselves and have built on that module. So Cornerstone's all about providing people with the tools to be self-sufficient and to have fallback devices so that when things don't go to plan, they've got a set of tools that they can use to navigate their way out of it. So look, let's wrap this up, Adrian. I'm going to ask you for some tips, some top tips for our listeners on mental toughness and devising programs to develop mental toughness.
Okay, nice way to end, Jason. Okay, so I'd certainly go with what we just touched on, the pre and post, right? And I get organisations kind of budgetary concerns right now, but you're absolutely right. If you look at the whole program, whatever you're trying to do, whatever aspect you're trying to a change of your culture, be it build resilience, be it understand why team leads may have difficulty connecting with their direct reports, or you're trying to improve some kind of structural change or ways of doing things. Doing a pre and a post is hugely important, and providing them with support in between, toolkits, so that people can be doing things in between to improve. Otherwise, you're just allowing it to improve by luck, which is not impossible, but not necessarily the best way to invest your money and your time and resources when you come to using the tool itself, for sure. I would say, again, where you can, coaching. And let me tell you something, the tool, as well as the book, as I said, the book's got some great tips in it. The tool gives you personalized tips, and it gives you lots of options for you to choose and build your own program of improvement areas, right? So that's really helpful. A coach will help you maybe prioritize those a little bit deeper into some of the reasons behind where the scores might be, and again drive that self-awareness, because that's something you really said earlier on, Jason, about self-awareness being key, not only the development area, but the whole, once you step into the world of mental toughness, if you're in the world of raised self-awareness, which is the key, right? The key. You can't start any change fruitfully without some level of self-awareness, and it's a brilliant way to do that. If you have the resource, be it using internal resource or external resource, had to have coaching, be it in one-to-one or small groups, is a very good way to maximize your return. I would say, a mindset of long-term. Now, I know long-term will vary from business to business, culture to culture. Don't look for a quick fix. Don't think we've done this in a week. We're looking for uplift next week or even next month. It is a journey over a period of time, which I would say minimum 3 months. But if you're looking to 9 months, 3 quarters, 4, you then start seeing some change, provided you've got those other structures along the way to support the change and not rely on a one-shot hit a workshop on a away day, because that will give you limited return. And yeah, I'd say using the other tools, right, that come with it, the other reports. So you've got the development report, you've got the coaching, line managers report, you've got the assessment report. All 3 really good reports, very simply laid out. They're slightly variations of the initial development report, and it's probably worth highlighting, Jason, isn't it? The fact that if someone has we don't call it mental weakness, we call it mental sensitivity in a particular area, that has its benefits too. That it doesn't mean they can't do the job. It just means they won't necessarily thrive or be loving it and leaning into it and bringing that sense of optimism, positivity to it. But so if you can support that individual, that team, if they're showing those kind of things, you can still get some really great aspects from it. And I think the tool lays it out quite neatly with it. There you go. That'll be my tip. And read the book.
Yeah.
Read the book.
Read the book. Read the book, people. So just to summarize that then, use all 3 reports, do a pre and post, use coaching, take it over a longer period of time.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
read the book.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Adrian, I've really enjoyed talking about
Cornerstone
Jason, with you. It's always a pleasure to work with you. And I'm going to end with my little catchphrase I've developed, which is mental toughness for a life well lived. Thank you.
Jason. Thank you very much. Great chat.